We're live. Okay, cool. Hooray. So yeah, we're here. We're live. We're recording. It's a sunny afternoon, early evening here at WineShark. I wanted to talk to folks about kind of what's upcoming with the channel. We got some early content soon to be improved. I'll be changing around here in the house, moving onto my main desktop, which will get some better performance, plus a nicer mic and a better camera. So hopefully you can hear me and see me better in the near future. But let's talk about the important part, the part that I love most of the content, not just what it looks like, but what we're saying and what we're talking about. So we've got a few things coming up here in the near future. We've got some content for YouTube, including filling out the wine basics playlist. So we're going to talk about storage of wine, which will include storing in the bottle after you've opened it and storing long term. Hey there, Miss Corey. Mr. Corey Roth is here. So we're going to talk about storage. We're going to long-term storage. We're going to choose about risks during storage, that whole sort of thing. So it'll be kind of cool. That's something that people don't think about a lot. But I mean, of course, if we're just doing hand-to-mouth wine buying where you buy a bottle and you drink a bottle, good deal. But if you start to stack some up in your house, there's some do's and don'ts that are important to know so that you're not wasting money. So those would be kind of cool. I'll also do a video on glassware. We're going to talk about glasses and different types of glassware. Kind of important. Talk to you about the practical basics, of course. That's kind of where my heart lives. We'll talk about the 3 different types I keep in my house, what I use for daily purposes, care and feeding, the differences between crystal and glass, the shapes of them, that kind of thing. We're going to talk about why WineShark and some other about details. This is the kind of stuff like, for instance, where did the name WineShark come from? And what are some of the principles behind, the vision behind what I've been doing for the last 16 years with this and where we are now. I'm going to do a little how-to video on how to use a waiter's corkscrew, because you're all adults that deserve to know how to use one of these, and it will never fail you. So that's all stuff that's going to be going into the basics. We're going to start, oh, hey there, Mr. Pens. So no, there's going to be a whole video on it. It's going to be cool. You'll take a look. It's more to explain than just now. But we are going to talk about grocery store grabs, something that I think is near and dear to a lot of people's heart. I've heard a lot of feedback over the years, and we're talking about wines that you see in the grocery store. I mean, having a great wine store nearby is a blessing. I'm very lucky that where I live, I've got 2 or 3 great wine stores within 5 miles. If I expanded that to 15, I could probably triple that number of places to shop that I could get unique wines, just broad variety, good quality. Even many of the grocery stores nearby for me are well stocked with decent wines. So we're going to talk a lot about that and about what grocery store wine buying is like and what we should look for, how to make the most of our dollars. If we're getting into wine for the first time and you've got a limited budget, let's talk about how to make those dollars go further. Let's talk about making the best mileage out of that. So we're going to do that once every week, probably here on Wednesdays. I'm not sure it's going to be a live or whether it's a pre-record. We'll see. We're going to try it out. But that's going to be something I think people will have value for, because there's a lot of wine channels out there that'll tell you about expensive wines and very specific wines, and you can learn a lot of deep dive. But we're going to be talking right straight about the common man, and the everyday. Yes, Miss Jennifer is absolutely right. Grocery store grabs are awesome. So, and $4 sparkling brut from Aldi. Don't judge. I know there's no judgment. In fact, we will do an entire class. This is probably one of the more intermediate class, but we're going to talk about wine pricing. A lot about that. And yeah, if you're talking about for mixed drinks, it's you're not putting a $30 bottle of champagne into your mimosas. Or if you are, well, fancy you. I mean, I will do just fine with a $6 bottle of cava and call it even. So what else? Live chat topics. So stuff that'll be more like this, interactive, because they are long and rambly topics. I want to do Yeah, $3 Chuck, damn right, but Daniel, I love it. We're going to talk about wine fads. That's one that I want to get pretty early on. Talking about, I've nicknamed it the good, the bad, and the tasteless. We're going to talk about how fads in wine have come and gone for probably about the last 20 years. We're going to cover basically the Merlot boom. We're going to talk about the transition to Shiraz and the Australian waves. We're going to talk about Malbec is the new black. We're going to talk about red wine blends in the last 5 years getting destigmatized. And then we're going to talk about the strange atrocity that's occurring right now, which is let's put everything in a barrel age. So there'll be all kinds of ranty, ravey stuff there. And then I'll probably do another class on live chat on flaws, because that's a really deep topic. And we'll talk about how to identify broken wines and wines that are spoiled and how to avoid those and identify them, but also talk about the degrees of flaws. I have done some great research and listened to a fantastic audiobook called Flawless about the real nitty-gritty science behind wine flaws and how a flaw is not always a flaw. Think about this if you want to use, I'm a huge fan of analogy in the music world, right? We talk about the warm sounds that come from something alive and how the sound might be processed as opposed to being really digitally cleaned up. Okay. So in wine, we have a similar thing where, for instance, reductive flavors, where fruits are reduced. The difference between fresh fruit, let's say, and jammy fruit. That's a subjective like. Not everybody likes it, but some people do. And in certain styles of wine, it's actually considered good. We talk about Brett and Brettanomyces. There's a whole kind of rabbit hole to go down there of the barnyard stuff. So we'll do a whole rant on that. Probably take us an hour or two. I don't know. What else? Yeah, so that's all content. That's all kind of just the stuff that's limited straight here to YouTube. And but I wanted to talk about some FAQs. What is Jennifer saying here? Wines to feed your family over holidays. They're drunk enough to stand. Okay, there's a holiday feature in there about how to maximize your wine value, your punch per. Because let's just face it, there's a great. I believe it was I don't remember where it was, but I saw a cartoon that was wine for wine drinkers and the everybody else wine, and how wine aficionados tend to keep two stacks. So those that we share with people that are really geeky and can talk about it, and stuff that's just, hey, let's just drink this. It's fun. It's the everybody else wine. So again, no shaming, but let's not lie to ourselves either, shall we? So, okay, so let's talk also about FAQs. Obviously, it's been a very busy week. I've been trying to get lots of stuff out there. Some of it's confusing, even to me. So thank you for your questions and allow me to kind of pick through some of them. Number one, where the content of this channel and the brand overall is going. So we're kind of doing 2.5 buckets. Bucket number 1.5 will be freely available content on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. I say 1.5 because I'm not sure. I'm going to do some Instagram live stuff and see how it works format-wise. But I need to know kind of how and where. I don't want to get things too scattered. Let's just say that. So the wines that we're drinking and the stuff that we share on these channels will be that baseline. Hey, everybody, kind of not only just the basics, but that's where we're going to do one thing. The other content repository will be Patreon, and Patreon will be where the comparative wine tastings go. The interactive and virtual ones will be stored there. I will have additional exclusive content that is available only on Patreon. Again, the way to reward those awesome Patreons that help support me. I'll be doing a weekly wine pick, kind of what I'm drinking in there as well, in addition to the grocery store stuff. Then we'll also be doing specific VIP content, topics that are only going to be available via that. Some of them ticketed, some of them not, right? One of the things I'm also thinking about figuring out is at the $20 Patreon level, allowing one free wine tasting ticket per month. So to address that point, wine tasting tickets, they're $15 per. They cover, then that's per connection. So if you and your spouse or significant other, friend, dog, person that lives inside your head, whatever they are, you just per connection. So I highly encourage you not to try and drink 3 bottles of wine by yourself. Leave it to the professionals. So, but so I wanted to include that as a clarification. It's $15 per connection, and then there will be a FAQ both during the whole show. It'll basically be as close as I can get to the usual show format that I do at places like Scarborough Renaissance Festival or in your own home. Okay. That will be recorded and stored on Patreon. So if you're dying to see yourself on a video chat with me, you're going to have to be a Patreon. That's just because why? Because that's the cool content. The interactivity part of that is, I think, the thing where people are really craving most, that they want to be able to share. So anyway, so you got YouTube, Facebook, Insta, and then Patreon. Some interesting ideas that have been thrown around. So these are may or may nots. Locals, for my local folks, a COVID drop shipped VIP bundle. Basically, imagine for the tasting, you buy your ticket, but instead of just buying a ticket and you having to go out and buy wines, you could buy a more expensive ticket that basically is all inclusive. I will drop off a box at your door that includes the 3 wines, possibly some cool extra stuff, like we're going to throw cheeses and chocolates and goodies and whatnot in there. So think of it as a care package for you and whoever your wine drinking buddy is. And I'd have to figure out and price that out, how to make it logistically happen. But that was suggested as a just turnkey option because it's worth not having to go seek out the wines. So there's that. What else? We've got additional virtual tastings. There might be some VIP style interactive tastings where basically we open up the topic to specific things, and I might do a wine plus. So think about like a wine and cheese pairing class for very specific wines and very specific cheeses, or even very specific foods. I had a discussion with a buddy and partner of mine today. Maybe we'll do like wine dinner night where you'll do 2 bottles of wine. We'll send you a recipe to cook. We'll cook the recipe up, and we'll basically kind of try and compare while, we're on live. And then we could either, you could have a 2-way thing. So we can listen to each other chew on them online. It'd be great. But the idea of, hey, here's 2 wines and here's 1 dish. Let's compare and contrast those things. Really good activities to keep ourselves from going stir crazy here during quarantine. Which is kind of cool. Takeout. Yes, you could even do it with takeout. We could support a local business and say, let's all order a Zalat pizza and have a specific wine. That would be awesome. I have a stack of boxes sitting right behind this camera that I have to deal with. Tina, you really do miss hearing people chew. I know. Let me tell you, I play an online D&D game every week, and my GM's lunchtime usually occurs right about the middle of the game. And encouraging Dave, I said, you have to mute your mic. We'll wait. Have your sandwich. It's going to be okay. But anyway, of course, there would be no virtual chewing. We're not doing an ASMR channel. Forget that business. It's not my thing. And the hip kids will go look that up. Anyway, let's see. What else? Deep dives for exclusive video content. That's another Patreon thing I want to do. We talk about, there's a lot of the content I'm focused on is very much focused on the everyday drinker. The you and the me's out there in the world in the $10 to $20 level who want to learn more and drink wine every day and enjoy it. But there's going to be some medium and advanced level topics that I want to cover as well for people that are really seeking to get educated and bone up on those things. So if so in fact, for those of you that may be sharp-eyed, one of the things that you'll see like right up here in the thumbnails, I've got a little grape icon. Well, that grape icon is one of 3 that's going to demonstrate the level of knowledge that's trying to impart. Is it a basic, medium, or advanced level topic? So you're the first to hear it online right now. The idea is stuck in my head right now, but I will eventually figure out how to transmit that, and so people understand. Hey, look, I can easily browse for basic content, or hey, I want to learn something more sticky. So, kind of cool. And so yeah, we talk about wine plus, that's etc. All good. So all right, so let's see. We've got about 6 or 7 episodes. Thank you guys for joining me. My first live chat, like in the history of ever, at least on the YouTube world. This is so much cooler than any meeting I've ever been in because of this. And for those that were watching or have watched Corks and Stoppers, yes, Tina wants to know what we're drinking. So funny that. If anybody recognized this from yesterday, that's the little glass wine cork that we talked about, right? Very cool. This is a bottle of Chateau de Fabergé, right? From Costières de Nîmes, appellation de Origine Protégée, AOP. It's a rosé from South France, right? Nice little salmon color here. I mean, look at this bad boy. This is really beautiful, almost salmon orange. Wow, the color correction on my screen makes me look like I'm drinking whiskey. That's going to be a thing in the future, I'm sure. Not me drinking whiskey, although that's also a thing in the future. But maybe worrying about color and how I might be able to have to deal with that. I might be calling Daniel again and going, hey, apparently post-processing is going to be a thing. So anyway, nice salmon color. This is a South of France classic dry style rosé. Okay. I mean, this is the rosé all day crowd here. We got, it's like very, very, very on the top, right? This is big wines like this are not highly aromatic. This is refrigerated, of course. It's a little cooler, right? So it's about 45 degrees now, but so it's not jumping out of the glass, but it's like a watermelon rind, right? Not quite a full, like, when we associate watermelons flavors, what do we get? We get candied watermelon. We think Jolly Ranchers are the flavor of watermelon. They're not. They're actually the flavor of happiness. But the rest of us, when we think about real watermelon, this is a lot what that smells like. Really light, real clean. You can actually smell the acidity in there, a little bit crisp. And yes, Rob, I am a fancy lad. It's rosé all day. Like, just join that crowd. Be like, mouthfeel, big acid, right? This is exactly what these wines are designed to be. Acid and fruit forward, dry, right? Nothing in the sweet range. Contrary to popular belief, and although this is slowly changing, rosés are not sweet wines. By and large, they are dry. This is very crisp. Makes my mouth water having to swallow saliva here just to keep talking. We've got then that continuation of that very light watermelon, fresh strawberry, unripe strawberry, right? Just right between that line of that where the green part hits as it's starting to ripen up. Easy, fun drink. Cannot complain about this at all. I mean, I bought it for the closure so I could teach that class, but the juice ain't half bad either. I think this runs about $13 a bottle. Now, 2018, right? We're sitting here in 2020. This is a little past its. This is not out of its date range, but this is pushing it. Rosés, especially French, south of France, and that whole region, those Mediterranean rosés, they're not wines for long age. They're designed to be consumed the year they're produced. In fact, it's usually a big deal here in the next, I guess 4 to 6 weeks normally, and if the world was anything close to normal, was when you'd start seeing these wines shipping over from 2019 vintages. Okay, this is the very next year's wines. Okay, so these are not the first wines you can get. Those would be the Nouveau wines that come out in November, but these are effectively the first of of last year's harvest. So 2018, that means this one's a year past that. Now, it's still fresh, drinkable. It's been well cared for, no problems. But do keep an eye on that, especially at big box stores. Even my Total Wine I have seen in the past. I've gotten hold of some vintages that were past their prime, not just in the world of rosé, but in the world of any of the light whites. Had a couple of Albariños once I was doing in the middle of a tasting, and bottle one was, they were Verdejo, the Spanish white called Verdejo. Bottle one, fantastic. Bottle two was this cooked spinach of monstrosity. It was awful. So, and I looked in the bottle. Well, guess what? I had a 4-year-old bottle of Albariño next to a 2-year-old bottle of Albariño. not so hot. Jennifer says that the quarantine has made her like rosé more. Okay, I'm not exactly sure why now you like rosé more. It's probably because you're exposed to 100% less Karens. That is my guess. So due to lack of Karens and lack of brunch, you're going to like rosé because you can enjoy it in private. The peace and tranquility that the south of France would normally bring you. It's a fantastic story by Jay McInerney, and he talks about one of the best bottles of wine he's ever had and how experiential things are when it comes to finding that best wine. And basically the story boils down to it's because of a ridiculously hot woman and the bottle that he shared it with. So story, very true story. So definitely a lack of Karens. All right, well, good. See, Jennifer, you feel good already. It's not a bad idea. So what else? We're 21 minutes in. We're not too far off. So we got another 30 minutes for me to kill, and I've run out of topics on my list. And now it's your job to drive conversations and keep me sober. Because the less you ask, the more I'm just going to sit here and drink on camera. Okay, not true. I'll make up a topic and we'll talk about something like that. So when will the list for Friday come out? Well, Tina, you already should have the list for Friday. Great question. Go to the Google Calendar, how do you get to the Google Calendar? Go to wineshark.com, go to virtual or online tastings, click the calendar down below. When you click in the link, the wine list will be there. I'm going to start putting those out in public. In fact, the next 3 wine tastings, which includes this Friday, all the wines are now posted in the calendar. You can see what they are and order them right now. I'm not going to make a secret of the wines we're trying. The key, in other words, it's a benefit for you guys to say, hey, look, these are the wines that Glenn's comparing. But the benefit is really being able to drink them and have the questions go two-way. So you can go there. If you go to the Facebook event, it should be listed in the Facebook event as well. And when in your ticket, check your Evite, your Eventbrite ticket. There should be a section that came once you hit order that has a whole link, a whole text section. In there, there's direct links to Total Wine. And I'm about to update the calendar listings so that the links for the countries are pre-populated URLs to Total Wine that help you do search. So let's say we're looking for this week, it's Syrah Shiraz. I've pre-populated it to say, when you click on it to go, show me Syrah Shiraz, all you have to do is say, show me from California, show me from France, and make sure you select your store. So that's Tina's where can I get the list question. Rob, Chenin Blancs, Vouvray, some fruits, not sweet. We need some of that stone fruit. Okay, Chenin Blanc, one of my total hidden gems, a favorite wine of mine. So let's talk about the basics of how to identify via language whether they're sweet or not sweet. If they're a very traditional style label, they may have the sec, demi-sec label on them. Okay, so sec is sweet, demi-sec is half sweet. Okay, no, sorry, other way around. Sec is dry, demi-sec is half dry. There we go. So anyway, that's what you want to look for, is look for demi-secs, right? If you're looking for demi-sec. Demi-secs is that's another topic we're not going to be on. But demi-sec is the one you want to look for, or if you really want to get a little research ahead of time, you know the wines you're looking for, you can look on the tasting notes from the winemaker. This usually takes some Google Foo. One of the skills that I put to the test all the time. I was just doing it for Friday before I got on here. So the other thing is to just keep trying and asking. We're going to do a video to talk about how to approach wine. When you go to a shop for wine, what is it that you are looking for and how to ask for the things you're looking for. That's one of them. Know your price point, know the things you like, etc. So in your wine store, go, hey, I really like Chenin Blanc. I like crisper Chenin Blancs. I like that stone fruit flavors like apricots, peaches, nectarines, and see what they say. One of the reasons I'm a big Total Wine advocate is that in my experience locally, they have very well-trained staff that can guide me. That is of huge value to me when it comes to picking out wine stores. So kind of endorse them and more. Jennifer Ross says, so Corey and I struggle to determine if a wine has turned. Okay, sometimes it's super clear. Other times we debate and wonder if it's us or the wine. What are the things to look at other than taste? Okay, So I'm going to do a whole sit and chat on flaws, but here's a preview of that. The first indicators are visual. When a wine goes bad, you're looking for things to turn. If it's going to go bad, it's usually going to go bad due to temperature or oxygen are the two most common causes. Oxygenation or stuff getting through a cork, getting too much air involved makes the wine oxidized. And remember, oxidization equals rust, right? Same concept. Okay. Think of your fresh fruit analogy. Cut an apple in half, watch it turn brown. Same thing happens to your wine. You can see a difference in color. Instead of you have to know what you're looking for in the first place, though. So let's say a light wine like an Albarino. It's going to have normally a bright yellow or straw yellow color. Okay, it's going to be pretty high on that yellow scale. Okay, sunlight to straw at the outside. If it starts turning gold, if it starts turning into a more maize color, chances are that wine's something wrong with that wine. Now, you'd only know that because it's an Albarino. Chardonnay, for instance, might already have that gold color. So this requires a little bit of know-how. Okay, this is not a basics thing. This is a medium thing. Second thing, of course, don't want to see anything floating in the bottle, right? We don't want to see anything, as long as there's not particles moving, etc. The first S, remember we talk about clarity. We want to see light reflect cleanly. If you pour it into the glass, you hold it up to the light and you get that dull sheen, chances are something's gone wrong, okay? So all of those are your common indicators for a turned wine. The same thing, it's either gone bad through temperature and heat, which is that those usually present in aroma, but visually you're going to see most of the indicators for oxidization or bacterial infections, things like that. Daniel Pens loves fruit flavors, but the overly heavy acid really just kills my enjoyment. Okay, so we need to find wines for you that are more fruit forward and that are lower on the total acidity scale. Medium advanced topic. There's two ways to measure acid in wine, one of which is called TA, total acidity, and one is the pH, which most of us should know from our basic chemistry classes. So let me see if I can remember this right. I haven't practiced this bit in a bit. TA is like volume. It's the more TA, the higher the volume. Literally, it's total acidity per volume. Okay. pH is like pitch. Okay. The closer you get towards that low scale, in other words, the higher the pH, the more sharply that it presents. Okay. 0, is total base. 7 is total acid. 3.5 in the middle is water. Okay. Wines usually range in the 3 to 2 and change range, if I recall correctly. So so if you're looking at the data sheet, you can see that. But let's just learn some styles that you might try. See above, Rob's comment, Chenin Blanc is your friend. It is fruit forward. It has enough sweetness to counterbalance its acidity. Its acidity will make your mouth water without giving you that twang. This wine that I'm drinking, this wine got that ripping little acid punch, man. It's like a sharp glass of OJ. It's like getting that grapefruit in the morning. Okay, this is something I don't think you'd find. I think you'd find we call that razor sharp acidity. Too much for you. So instead, try something. I'm going to say try Rieslings in the sweeter ranges. Auslese, Spätlese Rieslings. Try Vouvray which is the Chenin Blanc grape, and try the Chenin Blanc grape from California as well. Vouvray is the region in France. What else is in that fun white? Those are fun whites. And we talk about fruit flavors in reds, then the same thing. Usually you're now not fighting acid. In fact, acid is good. You're usually fighting tannin. So you need to, again, find fruit forward reds. Stay into your Pinot Noirs, Gamay, Shiraz range. Mr. Ellis, welcome. How are we doing? So over the years, we've been given wine as Christmas gifts. How do I know if it's worth opening or it's past its time? Okay, store it in the back of the pantry. Cool. Excellent. This will be covered in the long-term storage video in detail, but some basics there. Most wine that we purchase at the store is designed to be consumed within 2 to 3 years of purchase. Okay. Unless it's built to lay down, then you want to drink it usually within that time frame. White wines usually on the short side, 2 or 3. Red wines, 3 to 5, depending on how they're made. That's a good guideline. So the date might be your first clue. Second thing, if you're questioning specifics, first thing is a visual inspection. Take a look at the bottle. Look through the bottle with a strong light behind you. Can you see anything floating in there? Does the color of the wine look like a good, pretty wine color? Red wine should have that anywhere from cranberry, ruby, garnet colors. They shouldn't be brown. They shouldn't be bricky. They shouldn't look cloudy. Okay. White wines, they should, again, generally speaking, they should match the color that their type goes to, but they should never look dull. They shouldn't look they shouldn't look like tarnished gold in any way, shape, or form. Now, some of them can be almost an orange color, but those are really specifically oxidized wines, rare wines like Sauterne, things like that. So don't sweat it. Date is what I would go with first. The internet is your second thing. Look up the bottle and the look up at the bottle and the type and the name. Hey, this is a Cabernet Sauvignon from Silver Oak, 2005. They will have a vintage chart that basically says, or search the word vintage chart, and you can find. It'll usually scale them in 3 grades. It'll be hold, drink now, or past, I believe is the way they put it. I'd have to look it up again. But that's a way. Those are mostly for ageable wines, though. If you know you're holding on to a wine, let's say, that is designed to age, and you want to know when it's at its peak, that's what you use a vintage chart for. If you're looking for stuff that's just presence that has been stored in the pantry, then visual inspection would be the first thing. And then just a simple internet search. Type in the name and the vintage year and see what comes up. If in the pantry, as long as you're talking about the food pantry, that's good, by the way. You've got it, out of direct sunlight and out of direct light. You've got it in a place where you're not vibrating it all the time by moving it. You've got it away from other strong smells. You've got, so those are, you're in a relatively consistent temperature position. Those are the 4 big long-term storage things, right? We want to make sure that we're not storing it too warm or too cold. We don't want to store it too dry or too wet. We don't want to store it near anything that smells. We don't want to store it near anywhere where it shakes. Those are the big ones. So, all right. So let's see. Anybody else? Great questions, guys. I love it. Man, some of these stuffs are going to be covered in various topics later, but, I love the interactivity. So hello from Turkey. Let's see, Ethikan, is that how I pronounce your name? Well, welcome. Hi from Texas. So I think most of my crowd here are also nearby, but other side of the world, we're drinking some nice rosé here from France. This is Chateau du Fabrage, right? We're talking about the content that's coming out on the site. So thanks for joining us. Very cool. I feel international suddenly. It's amazing. So, all right, what else? Tina, did you find the wine list? You should respond and tell me whether you found that or not. So yeah, this has been an interesting little startup. Something to repeat. Now that we've got a few more eyeballs on here. Thank you for putting up with my technology bootstrapping. As I said, I'm sitting here with my Chromebook and literally a Jed steel wooden wine crate to lift my camera up, because Rashandra told me that I shouldn't look down at people in my camera. It's legit. Yeah, and then the mic is just kind of plugged in and we're good to go. But we'll be improving our mic and our camera situation. So all of those things, hopefully by the end of next week is the plan. And then I'm going to move on to my desktop and we'll move into the bedroom studio and it'll be all good. I mean, it's never going to be super fancy because that's not the thing. It's really going to be about the content, but I want you to be able to hear me and hear you. So the technology challenge right now will be the Zoom meeting on Friday, because I'm going to be transmitting via my little basic gaming headset, which is a travesty of its own right, and we will be back and forth. So there's all that traffic. So we'll deal with that. Jennifer Roth. All right. Well, you're drinking a bottle blended at Chateau Saint Michel. Went to a class at the vineyard. Awesome. Tasted single vintages, then blended and bottled. An epic event. That sounds pretty amazing. For those of you that don't have an opportunity, getting a chance to see how wine is made, meet the people who make it, and find out how they feel about their wines is one of the most seminal moments, I think, in advancing your love of wine to I like the beverage to I'm passionate about the topic, right? Dan says Chateau Saint Michel never goes wrong. He and I, when we met many snows ago, talk about how you find and fall in love with a winery and try everything that they've got. One of my big pieces of buying advice, I said I will continue to go back to my analogy pool. When we talk about wine and winemakers have a lot to do and influence how the wine comes out into the bottle. There's a axiom that great wine is made in the vineyard, but that I think is only partially true, because you can take the best grapes in the planet and hand them to a moron, and he's not going to give you the same things that a talented winemaker could do with even mediocre grapes. So think about your winemakers, your vineyard managers, and your entire staff and team at a winery as a band, right? They're there to get the most they can out of their fruit, and how they feel and their philosophies about their grapes and about their wines will really reflect in the final product. If you find something you like Dan talked about, Chateau Saint Michel, found a wine that he liked and then took every other wine that winery made and tried it. That is a fantastic way to expand your palate, because if you like Jimi Hendrix and you only heard him play All Along the Watchtower, I bet you if you go listen to other Hendrix albums, you'll find that he has a much wider range than that one thing, and that you'll find other things that you like. So there's examples like that throughout the wine world, where find the winery, love what they do. When we get off here in about 20 minutes, I'm going to log on to a live Instagram feed from one of my favorite winemakers, Dave Finney. He just released a new wine, and I want to hear what he's got to say about it, because the man has never done me any wrong. I mean, every time he puts out a wine, he's in my wheelhouse. He's one of those artists that I love. So very, very cool. And I love Jennifer's comment about going to the vineyard and trying wines. Get an email from Eventbrite. Okay, Tina. Well, if you need to DM me, shoot me a message on at event@wineshark.com or Facebook. I'll gladly help you find what you need. But yes, you should get that order done today, so that in case there's any delays. I know my Total Wine is saying that orders placed usually take till tomorrow to get to. So don't want you to be stuck without booze. So. All right, found a Beringer California Collection 2009 California White Merlot, covered in dust and laying on its side. Well, covered in dust and laying on its side is good for wine and bad for bodies. But let's just say that let's take a look here. In fact, let's just do a live thing. Beringer California Collection White Merlot. Now, 2009 on white has me instantly worried, because that means it's an 11-year-old white wine. And there aren't many white wines that are designed to lay down that long. All right. Let us see. I chopped the B off of Beringer. Okay. Wine Searcher. First result is from Wine Searcher. Wine Searcher is a great little resource online for looking up older vintages, right? So, Truett Hurst. I've never heard of them, Jennifer. That's interesting. Eventbrite's having issues. We've been struggling getting tickets. Mean struggle purchasing? That's not a good sign. Well, Jason, so they're talking about, based on what I'm guessing, you're going to get. It's a rosé color wine, because it's a white Merlot, like a white Zinfandel. Means they pressed a red grape and they left it in contact with the skins to make pink wine. That, again, I would be really wary on that one. In other words, whenever you open up something that has been laying down for a while, you're trying to bring something out of the cellar, especially 100%, especially if you're doing it for some special occasion, have a plan B. That's where you want to make sure that you've got something else in case the wine you're trying is bad. So if you want to open up that bottle, you said you got it for Christmas. That's one of those things where you may not need a special occasion. Tuesday is a perfectly good day to drink. You may open it up and check it out. If it's no good, no big deal. Have another bottle of wine on standby. In the storage video, I will talk at length about how to lay wine down. In fact, actually, no, there'll be a whole video on laying wine down for special purposes, how to maximize your chances of success with that, because there are some easy errors to make. I've seen them in my lifetime. I've been on the awesome side and the awful side of that kind of situation. So Rehearse, think Eventbrite, blah, 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 Colors Rosé. Where was I? Yeah, going to try it on my laptop. Can't log into PayPal. Keeps locking up. All right, technical. You guys are technical enough to figure this out. I will help you out however I can, Mr. and Mrs. Roth. I will take care of it. So we'll make sure that you join us. That'd be kind of cool. So, okay. So back to somebody pause in questions there. So I'll also talk about the wanna help section for those that have been hanging out. So my first goal here on the YouTubes is we got to get to 100 subscribers. 100 subscribers gets me a custom URL so we can have a fancy youtube.com/WineShark. We need that. That's just for simplicity's sake. I know that there's 100 of you out there that tolerate me long enough to at least subscribe, even if you never bother to watch a video. The next hump after that will be the next order of magnitude. Getting 1,000 subscribers will be the next journey, and that's important for the monetization factor. Not that I'm thinking that that I'll be monetizing this with ads and videos and such. Mostly what I'd really like is I'd like to be able to put a super chat over here in the chat so that people can highlight questions, and basically it's a virtual tip jar. So another stream of income. Everybody loves income. So those are kind of the YouTube goals. But building up enough content so that the channel has value, that we get enough repetition of value. I think the grocery store stuff, I think the regular topics, I think the sit and chats and the rants, we're going to have a great time, and there'll be reason to keep coming back. Then, of course, there's the primary thing. There's Patreon. What I want to offer our Patreons is basically that next level, right? There's going to be a lot of content out here for free, but the Patreon is basically to help, so really support what I'm doing, and to be able to get access to some special content. It'll be where the archive of the comparative wine tastings go. They'll have exclusive content that's only for Patreon. I'll do a weekly wine picks that I'm going to start doing, and we'll be doing some VIP type tastings, general purpose stuff. When we get back to a world where we can move around in public, for instance, if you join at the $20 level, you get your 15% off your first wine tasting. I'm talking about in-person, in-home tasting, take 15% off. I'm trying to figure out how to include one online tasting per month as part of that. I've just got to figure out the technical woozits. But bottom line, there is anything you can do from $1 that says I love you and you're great to whatever level you can afford or manage. It's how this thing is going to take off and be amazing. I spent a lot of the last year working on a business plan for taking WineShark into the real world, in the sense that building an actual physical location and opening up, for lack of a better term, a wine bar. That obviously is on pause, but and it's still a goal. But when I realized that the situation we were in and how serious it is, the idea that there's this way to connect, and the value of the content that I have that you guys are willing to listen to, I think there's a real option there. So I think it's going to be amazing, and I cannot express how awesome you guys are. You guys are just blow me away. So, it worked on your laptop. It must have been an issue with the Eventbrite app. That may be an issue. I get that. There's an app for that, I'm sure. That's what your answer is. All right. Wine truck. A wine truck. I don't know about the legal. I don't know. I've seen some great memes lately about how Texas relaxed its TABC rules regarding liquor stores and pickups. So going from, yes, you may buy like a single bottle when you leave, to fuck it, let's have a tequila drive-through at a lemonade stand, which I think that's pretty much where we are right now. Hey, I need to write this down. I don't have anything to write with. I'm going to have to use the computer to type it in. There's another topic we're going to be talking about. Wine advocacy and wine laws. I kind of let off the gas on this in the last few years because Texas has finally come into the modern age and allows delivery of wine. Although there are some funkinesses to it. For instance, you must be 21 and sober and must sign for it, because obviously, I know what you were all doing. I mean, when you guys were like 15 and 16, you were getting on like that winery's website and ordering up a case of $80 bottle of Merlot, weren't you? that's exactly what you were in for. Yeah. But anyway, sober, 21, pick it up at the door. Can be a real problem. Nowadays, we're all locked in. Well, who cares? But back when I had, an office job, it was kind of a pain in the ass because I had to arrange to work from home to be able to receive my wine. Otherwise, I just had to go down to the FedEx and pick it up anyway. So wine advocacy is at least something that I have some volume in. But here locally, we can get it shipped. So we're going to talk, though, about eliminating the 3-tier system, middle management, places like Naked Wines that do direct shipping, that kind of stuff was going to be very interesting. Again, kind of a wine geeks topic, not everybody cares, but I'm sure 1 or 3 of you will sit down with me and drink about it. So talk about opening a physical location, what we describe as your perfect wine bar like. Okay, well, I'm not afraid to share the concept here because ain't nobody going to do it with me. So the important factors, so the working name, by the way, is called Bacchus. And the whole point about Bacchus is there is a gap in my experience here in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, where there are wine bars and there are restaurants with great wine lists. But the problem is finding the place that is mostly wine and not mostly food. We have an American tradition where we don't sit around and just hang out at a venue for the evening. It's a very continental style of being. And so you can't just go out and hang out at a place that has a really good wine list and just hang out at a table with your friends. Most restaurants aren't really going to cotton to that. And we also just aren't accustomed to that. On the flip side, at some of the great wine bars that we have here in the area, they are competing in the bar space, which means that they are trying to attract customers with live music. They can be very busy and very loud. And frankly, they're not good for that hangout kind of discussion. Bacchus is a wine salon. It's a combination where conversation is king, where you can be able to have a glass of wine and from a really reputable, decent wine list. You're not going to, in fact, here's something that'll be interesting. It's unlikely that you're going to see a lot of wine brands or labels that you're going to see anywhere else, or especially at your grocery store level, maybe even at your Total Wine and big box store level. Why? Because you can go get those there. That's not what you're looking for. You're looking for something different, something new. You're looking for that harder to find, that exclusive, that winery direct type model. So ideally, what you get is you can have casual conversation. You have light snacks, light food, tapas, coffee, teas, that kind of thing as well. So it's not all just alcoholic beverages. You've got a selection and a highly knowledgeable staff that understands that you're looking for something interesting, or even if you're just brand new to wine and you want to explore, you can learn in the same way that, my entire brand has been working for the last 16 years. So Boone's Farm from 1991, very, very good year. Yes, actually it was, because, I was graduating high school and even I was smart enough not to drink Boone's Farm back then, Tina. So the shaming will begin in now. Once we got back to being able to walk through stores, could you do a walk through your local wine store for the novice and how to get overwhelmed? Now, yes. A walkthrough would be great. And I am going to do a video just on how to purchase. There was Madeline Paquette, I'm a huge fan of Wine Folly, she did a Total Wine, she did a cam and she walked in shopping at Total Wine. It was really cool. But I would be glad just to talk about how wine stores are laid out, how not to get intimidated, and how to have an idea of what it is that you're looking for. Right? The big 3 ideas, right, to go into this with the mindset is: 1, do you want to try something new, or do you want to stick to something that you already know? Okay. What price point are you playing at? And do you already have wines or flavors that you like? Okay. With those 3 things, a quality wine store should be able to steer you into something. And if they violate any one of those rules, you can kind of tell whether they're doing their job well. The usual one you're going to see is price, right? If you say, I really like Pinot Noir, right? I like Pinot Noir. I want to try something new, and I want to stay in the $30 to $40 price point. If he goes back and points you to a $50 Pinot Noir, then he's not doing his job very well, because he's not listening when you said you wanted to try something new, and he's not listening to what you said with the price point. you wanted something sporty with two doors and a reasonable chance at a 0 to 60 in under 4, and he put you in a convertible that looks like it belongs to a teenage girl. So anyway, that we'll do a whole class on exactly how I approach that type of thing, because depending on your level, right? If you're new and these are the things you're looking for, but even as a professional, I go to a wine store, the challenges that I've faced, again, sometimes people just don't listen, and you have to go without the staff. Then we'll talk about leveling up, like get your wine skills leveled up, and talk to how we can learn enough to be dangerous, right? To know your wheelhouse, so that you could at least go by if I'm not here to try something new, at least I can find something that I can reliably go to. I can enjoy. I'm on the way to a dinner party. I'm going to pick up a reliable bottle. They don't have the brand name I'm used to. What's in the neighborhood? So if you can get permission, I've got a steady cam set up and we can walk through the store. See, there we go. And I will look for permission. The weird part is I don't know whether Madeline had permission. She just kind of walked around with a phone strapped to her chest. But hey, I'm all for experimentation, and I do have some very cool people that work at my Total Wine. They will gladly help. And so we'll also talk about some like eclectic wine stores, mom and pop stores, and what the advantages are of going there versus the big boxes. I've been hammering my local, but that's because it's the most convenient, best source. But places like Pogo's downtown is an amazing source where you're going to find wines that you're not going to find anywhere else. Really, really worth. Go with a blue bottle. Go with a blue bottle, like a fly, Dan, or like an actual blue bottle. I'm confused. I'm not sure what that's all about. All right, so we got about 8 or so minutes before Dave Finney goes live on Instagram, and there's that. I should figure it out. So, yeah, Dave Finney. So, just to give you a preview on that, is the winemaker at Orin Swift. He originally created The Prisoner, which went all crazy ape shit, and then got sold off to a different brand. He's got a very eclectic taste. He's a total rock star winemaker. Began as a winemaker with nothing else, meaning he did not own any grapes, did not own a winery. He would co-op buy grapes and buy grapes or co-op rent and lease space to both produce and cellar his wines, and just really knew how to put good fruit and good winemaking techniques into practice. He finally has settled down. He has a project called D66 in France, in the far southwest corner of France, almost where if he throws a goat hard enough, it'll hit Spain. But anyway, he's doing some fun and wild projects. He has a new Orin Swift product coming out not today, but very soon. And he's going to talk about it. So he's got awesomely eclectic names like Machete and Papillon and Veladora and Mannequin. And this one I think is called Gunslinger, or something else equally epic. By the way, you should all go watch Once Upon a Time in the West when you have 3 spare hours to kill, because cinematography reasons, and also Sergio De Leone. And Jason Robards, because Jason Robards is pretty goddamn amazing in that movie. Let alone Charles Bronson, whose character name, by the way, is actually Harmonica, because he never says his name. He's not even the man with no name from The Dirty, the Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. He's just Harmonica. How cool is that? I want to be a cowboy with stuff like that. All right, let me see if I can look this up for Dave Finney. Finney. Orin. Oh, I can't wait to get off this laptop. Pretty sure this laptop uses pigeon speed wireless internet. And that maybe it's the process. Who knows? All right. Any last questions? Because, I'm wordy, so therefore it'll take me 5 minutes to answer any given question. Man, you'd think I asked Gmail to search the Library of Alexandria for how long this is taking to find. Failed to load. You don't say. Miss Roxanne, tell her hi back, and I'm glad she is enjoying. Thank you very much. I hope to see you guys' faces on some tastings soon. And yes, thank you for subscribing, Daniel. One more shout out. I really would love you guys help me get to that 100 level so I can get a custom URL. And just, your continued support is absolutely amazing to me. I wouldn't be doing this without you guys. I mean, I'd be drinking by myself, but that just sounds pathetic. It'd be much cooler to help, teach and educate you guys. And, I just can't. You guys are awesome. It's just amazing. So, all right. Nope, we're never going to have this again. And I mean the email. It's just never going to come back. So. I didn't see Dan's earlier comment. It made my wife want to open a bottle of wine. Man, I'm an inspiration to drink. I'm going to take that in the best way possible. And that Katrina needs to just have a glass and relax and be awesomer. As opposed to, I'm tired of hearing Glenn talk. I'm opening up a bottle of wine. Because that's, that can happen too. So I hope that the Granquist household is full of all awesome things. It seems to be those. By the way, tell her that, I compliment her rose picture today. That was amazing. Drunken Wine Expert. The expert has a webcam. Nice. That's exactly it. There's a great running gag from South Park of, I'm not drinking one glass of wine, I'm drinking 6 glasses of wine. It's tasting and it's classy. A big shout out to the Granquist household. Thank you guys so much for your Patreon support. I am humbled. That is amazing. You guys are kick ass. I mean, now I won't have to, I will continue to do this awesome thing and make you guys proud. So be very, very cool. All right. Well, I can't find that darn Oren Swift thing, but I was going to just try and tell you guys the name. But if you go look up Oren Swift at Oren Swift on Instagram, I'm going to go check that out here in about a couple of minutes and see what Dave has to say. Look forward to more content soon. Just a quick summary for the people that joined late. We got the next upcoming content for YouTube. We're going to talk about wine basics, how to store wine, both short-term and long-term. We're going to talk about glassware. We're going to talk about how to use a waiter's corkscrew. We're going to talk about why WineShark and how that came into being and some other meta stuff about me. We're going to start a grocery store grab series. So every week, I'm going to be bringing you a wine from the grocery store that I found. We're talking about how to attack the grocery store at the best price point and find really quality values there. And then we're going to do live chats on wine fads, and wine flaws are upcoming here pretty soon. So nice little summary there. So swag, Jason Ellis. Yes, it's low on the priority scale, though. I've got to figure out what new channels are. I did T-shirts and mugs and stuff back in Cafe Press days many moons ago, but I've got to figure out where the value there lies. I mean, I would absolutely love the support. These days, it seems that you can have a pretty low effort of entry. So I will definitely check out branding up some, I like Cafe Press because, you can put my logo on anything from your panties to your hat. So, or you can wear your panties as a hat. That's the other cool thing about Cafe Press. So. All right, guys. Thank you guys so very much. I appreciate your support here on the very first live chat. I will be seeing several of you at least on Friday. If you have questions or problems getting wine, don't hesitate to contact me directly. I'll help make sure you get there. And we're going to taste some cool stuff together. So, all right, man. Thank you guys so much. Or a mask. Okay, no, I don't know that that's a good implication there, Jason. I don't want people 5 years from now remembering that that's why they met me. So thanks, guys. See you guys soon. It's never going to end because the buttons are just not working. And politely.